Hey everybody, this is D Hunter bringing you another action figure review. Today, we're going to be looking at the DC Collectibles Batman The Adventures Continue Red Hood. Now, The Adventures Continue is a current comic series which is a continuation of Batman the Animated Series, and it's supposed to be canon with the Bruce Timm universe. Now, Red Hood and Jason Todd was never in Batman the Animated Series, and I guess they're sort of shoving him into the continuity. I guess all the events happened off-screen and he was never mentioned. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I like Red Hood quite a bit as a character, and I'm happy to get another figure from him, and happy to add him into the animated continuity. So let's go and check out the packaging here. So you can see the background. We've got an animated Batman there. We've got Jason Todd here. He has an unmasked head, a helmet, a batarang, a pistol, some alternate hands, and it looks like a rocket launcher. Batman, The Adventures Continue. This is the 51st figure in the animated line. Red Hood. The side, same thing. The bottom, not much going on. And then at the back, you see an orange animated Batman. There is a barcode in case that helps anybody, as well as a bunch of credits. So with no further ado, let's open them up. And I did end up getting two of these figures, one of which to open and enjoy, the other one to keep unopened in my complete 6 and 7 inch unopened Batman action figure collection. And this guy was part of a huge lot of figures I got in the mail. Huge haul today. Just look at all that awesomeness. The place I pre-ordered most of these DC Collectibles figures from ended up falling through, so I tracked them down, and what are the odds they all came the same day? Alright, now that we got this figure out of the package, here he is with all of his accessories laid out. He comes with a pistol, a batarang, two alternate heads, one as Jason Todd, unmasked, and one with the Red Hood helmet on. He has 6 alternate hands, totaling 8 interchangeable hands, and then he also has his rocket launcher. But before we look at the accessories, let's check out the actual figure. So here he is, Jason Todd, as he was not shown in Batman the Animated Series, but apparently existed. He's got a little bit of gray through his hair. He's got what I believe is a scar on his right cheek. Overall, looking pretty cool. This is the first time in any way, shape, or form we've gotten a completely unmasked Jason Todd. Going further down, he's got that biker jacket, the brown leather jacket. You can see the different cell shading on his hands. A little bit on his sort of neck area. Got a little pouch there, holster for his pistol. Looks like single jointed elbows, single jointed knees, a little more cell shading down here. He's got the bat symbol on the back, a little bit different from the comic Red Hood that has it on his shirt. Overall, looking pretty cool. And then, here's the figure broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, and let's start off with his hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. Here's his next pair of hands. These have some open, outstretched fingers. These hands would be good if he's taking his helmet on or off, maybe if he's picking something up, and maybe just after he throws the batarang. His next pair of hands here are a pair of gripping hands that have trigger fingers, obviously intended to hold his pistol. The fact that he comes with 2 trigger finger hands makes you kind of wonder why he didn't come with 2 pistols. And then his last pair of hands, these are some standard gripping hands. Now let's look at his heads. He has 2 of them. One is a completely unmasked Jason Todd head, and one is a Red Hood head with the helmet on. His Jason Todd head is very pale. It kind of gives you a bad guy vibe to it, all that dark around the eyes. He's got a gray stripe through his head, and what I believe is a scar on his right cheek. The Red Hood helmet, pretty standard, what you'd expect. It has some shading on the right cheek at the same place as Jason Todd's scar. Make me wonder if that's supposed to be a shadow, or if he just added that because of a scar. I'm not really certain. Here's the Jason Todd head, which I plan to throw onto a civilian body, so I can have Jason Todd out of the costume. And here he is, with the Red Hood helmet on. Here's this Jason Todd head on a Hasbro Peter Parker body. Just a peek at what you can do if you want to have a Jason Todd in civilian attire. Sure, the flesh tones don't match, but they can always be painted. And I was really hoping to be able to simulate him reaching up and taking his helmet off with these hands. Unfortunately, his arms just can't reach his head this way. You can have him holding the helmet as if he just took it off. Now let's look at his holster. This thing is going to strap over one shoulder and lean on its side. It's going to be able to hold the pistol in there, made of a very soft, bendable material. Here he is without the holster, and then with the holster attached. Now let's look at his pistol. Pretty bland, pretty basic. Does have a little bit of sculpting detail on it, but it's made in this one color, and it's not even really a gun color. It almost looks like an unpainted accessory. Here he is holding his pistol, pointing it right at you. His trigger finger fits into the trigger area, but I almost broke this putting it in there. This thing will definitely break putting it in and out several times. He can definitely hold a few different poses with his pistol. And if you want to play it safe with the pistol, his gripping hand without the trigger finger can hold it, and you don't even have to mess with this trigger area. That is probably what I'm going to do, as that thing almost broke already. And here he is with his pistol holstered. Now let's look at his batarang. Simply a red batarang here. Nothing too special. Pretty nice design. Here he is holding and getting ready to throw his batarang. Then, as if he just released it. Now let's look at his rocket launcher. This thing looks okay. Kind of cartoony. The green, the silver, the black. A little bit of cell shading on the top here. Not a bad weapon, but definitely basic and animated looking. Here he is holding the rocket launcher. This one, I did not feel like the trigger finger was going to break it. A little more durable. And I'd love to be able to say you can have one hand in the trigger and the other hand supporting it, but this is about the best you can do with that. His shoulders are just so restricted, so flat out just doesn't work. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, now let's check out his height. From bottom to top, he's sitting at about 5.9 inches tall, which is going to translate to about 15 centimeters. A little bit on the shorter side of things for me. Yes, he does scale up with the previous Batman the Animated Series collection, but as a whole, if the animated figures were about a half inch taller, I would definitely enjoy them more. Now let's check out his articulation. Starting with his head here. Of course, you can rotate from side to side. You can look up and down just the tiniest bit there. Shoulders on a ball joint, they can go out 90 degrees, up, down, around, all that good stuff. No bicep cut. Single jointed elbows. They can go in about 90 degrees, but they can rotate as well. His wrists can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. One solid piece in the torso here. Does have a waist swivel down there. Legs, ball joints, they can go out about this far. Forward, not too much. Back, about the same amount. No thigh cut. Single jointed knees, they can barely go back. They can rotate. And then his ankles here, they can go up and down. They can tilt and rock. Here he is aiming his rocket launcher off a rooftop in Gotham. And here he is riding his motorcycle down the streets of Gotham. Here he is on my Red Hood shelf in his armory, getting geared up and ready to go. And then here's a more of a modern Batman and family. Now let's check him out compared with some other action figures, starting off with some other The Adventures Continue figures. Here he is with the rest of his wave. This is Series 1 of the DC Collectibles, The Adventures Continue figures. Here he is next to Series 2. They did show us a Series 3 and 4, but I don't think they're actually going to end up coming out. Series 3 was supposed to have a redo of the New Adventures Batman, a Vampire Batman, a Catwoman with an unmasked Selina Kyle head, and the Batman Who Laughs. And there's a glimmer of hope we might get Series 3. I still have my pre-orders at Big Bad Toy Store and Amazon, and have my fingers crossed. And then Series 4 was supposed to have a Flashpoint Batman, a Tim Drake Robin, a Barbara Gordon Batgirl, and a Talon. I don't think there's any chance of Series 4 coming out, but you never know. Here are all the different Bat villains DC Direct made from Batman the Animated Series. They made all the main ones, but for my collection to be fully complete, I would like to have Hugo Strange, Lockup, Red Claw, the Clock King, Rupert Thorne, and Maxie Zeus. And here are all the Bat villains that DC Direct has made from the new Batman Adventures. Now let's check them out, next to some other Red Hood and Jason Todd figures. Here he is, next to all the different DC Direct and DC Collectibles Red Hood figures that I have. And here he is, next to the Mattel Red Hood figures they made. And here, with a custom Red Hood that I made before they made any official Red Hood releases. Here he is, joining my entire Red Hood collection. And although those were all the Red Hood figures they've made so far, definitely not all the Jason Todd figures they've made. Here he is, next to a couple of other DC Direct Jason Todd figures. On the left, we've got a Jason Todd as Batman from Batman Reborn. And on the right, we've got a Jason Todd as Hush from the Hush storyline. Here's another DC Direct figure that is technically Jason Todd. In the game Arkham Knight, Jason Todd was the Arkham Knight. I believe they incorporated the character Arkham Knight into the comic continuity, and that guy wasn't Jason Todd. Back in DC Universe Classics, in Series 10, they released a Dick Grayson Robin and another head variant. I personally always use the Dick Grayson on the left with the curls as my Dick Grayson Robin, and the version on the right as my Jason Todd Robin. In the original continuity, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd wore pretty much the same costume as Robin. And then speaking of Red Hood, here's a couple DC Direct Joker as Red Hood figures. Then, here he is next to the Red Hood gang. Now let's check him out, compared with some action figures from different various companies, to see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix it with. Here he is, with some of his DC Direct and DC Collectibles brothers. I must say, I definitely would have been happier if the animated line scaled up with the rest of the DC Direct figures. And here he is, with some DST, or Diamond Select toys. Then, with some McFarlane toys. And here he is, with some NECA figures. Then, next to some Mattel wrestling figures. And here he is, next to some Mezco 1/12 cloth soft goods action figures. Then, with some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here, with some Mafex figures. Then, next to some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here he is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, here he is, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, this is a nice figure, but he's not without his flaws. I would say his accessories are excellent and plentiful. His sculpt is pretty nice. The paint job is also excellent. His articulation leaves a lot to be desired. Between his shoulders, elbows, and knees, he could really use an increased range of motion. You can't even get this guy to crouch on one knee and shoot his rocket launcher. I was very disappointed you couldn't do that. I'm also disappointed with his height. Don't get me wrong, he does fit in with the other Batman the Animated Series figures, but I do wish they went with the traditional 7-inch DC Direct scale. Overall, if I were to rate this guy, I think I would give him a 6.5 out of 10. Definitely a few things preventing me from enjoying him as much as I wish I would. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will talk to you guys real soon.